I hate chocolate, and I wasn't good at selling. But in 2004, I became a salesman for a chocolate company in New York. Go figure. Well, this love for New York actually started in 1991 when I traveled here with my parents for the first time. Ever since, I knew that New York was where I wanted to live. And so essentially that's the story of my life as an entrepreneur, listening to my guts. It was inside of me. New York, I grew up with it. A few years later, 2008, I had that first idea for a startup. Always dreamed of startup as well. I woke up with it and, it wasn't really the right time. We just had our first child. She was actually 2 months old. Had a good job, well-paying job in New York. Life is expensive here. But still, I had it inside of me. It was the right time for me to start my own business. So I left everything. And I actually started thinking about doing interviews inside restaurants to become a waiter. Because for the first few months after I start my company, I know I'm not going to make a lot of money. But I didn't have to. I actually started pitching a few investors for my idea. It was an idea. It was like not even a PowerPoint. And they liked it. A week later, we closed $200,000 in investments, and I could pursue my dream. So I started Producteev in 2008. All seemed good. I was very happy I could actually become an entrepreneur, work for myself, and live my passion, right? But 18 months later, you know how they call startups, right? It's a roller coaster. 18 months later, I really learned, what is a roller coaster, a real one, in real life. We had no money left in the bank, nothing. I was 3 months late on salaries for the whole team. And then I had to speak to my investors, right? Like, ask them, more money, please, help us. We're not far. But, our users are not really sure about the product. We're not there yet, but we're going to get there. I have in mind what's going to work in a few months. Just give us more money, give us more time. Obviously, they said no, right? Why would you invest in a dying business? And they even said something even funnier. They said, you know what, Ilan, you've done your best. Go ahead, go do something else. We might even fund your next business. You worked hard. You and your team, you did great. Again, inside of me, I was the only one believing again in this company, but I trusted my guts. And then I remember, 2 years before, I was working for a startup. And I was working for that Orthodox guy, Jewish Orthodox guy, based in Israel, in Bnei Brak, very Orthodox city. He really became a mentor. I was working for him, and his company was out of cash. And they were about to sign a multi-million term sheet with an investor from Israel. And the day before, they canceled the deal, the investors. They eventually didn't invest in the company. Wow, the whole company was down. Like, we had 30 employees. What are we going to become, right? And then I talked to him that day, and looked at me in the eyes, and the guy wasn't sad, wasn't even surprised. And he said, Ilan, I'm going to tell you about my life's principle. It's coming from the Torah. It's called Gamzu Letova in Hebrew. So I'm not sure many of you speak Hebrew in the room, but it's a tough one to translate, actually. I would translate it by, everything that happens in your life happens for a good reason. There's a lot of optimism there behind this. It was very hard for me to understand it at that time. But that's what drove me all along, my whole life, since, I heard that phrase for the first time. And so 2 years later, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm facing that big thing, no money, like him. And I decided against all odds to go and pitch investors in New York. And I really pitched everyone. Believe me, I spent like 3 months. The story, I knew it by heart, and I didn't have any emotion at the end. It was too much. But still, one day, I met that guy. He loved the presentation. He loved the vision. Came to me and said, Ilan, you know what? I believe in your vision. You might have something there. Not too much, but let's try. We'll trust you. 2 months later, they invest $1 million in us. And that's when it all started. I could hire a team, I could build the product I had in mind, and then it worked. Magically, hundreds of thousands of users flocked to Producteev. And I was right to insist. 2 years later, we started getting interest from large corporations interested in acquiring Producteev. The first two ones, big names, you would know them, you would actually use their services. But I didn't feel like it was the right fit for us. Again, inside of me, didn't feel right. Yeah, it would mean money for everyone, it would mean money for me. I was broke, I was a CEO of a company that was working well, but you don't pay yourself too much. But I didn't care. So I went out and raised money. This time it was easier. Right before we signed the term sheet for that round, I get a call from that Silicon Valley company, public company, and they came right away with the right offer, the right deal, the right team, everything. And we signed, and then we went to Jive. They acquired us. We moved to Palo Alto. I moved to Palo Alto with my family, and then all things were great. California. Sea, sun. Yeah, no, pretty much sea and sun, married, 3 kids. And everything was great in California. Comfort, great job, good salary. It was comfortable. But a year later, I wake up one day with that genius idea again. And then I tell my wife, right? And she gave me that look. You're at it again. And she knows me. She knows that when I have something in mind, it's over, I was done. We packed up everything and came back to New York last summer to start that new company. So you know what they say about successful entrepreneurs? They say once you're lucky, twice you're good. So I don't know if I'm good yet, but I know that my guts never failed me. You should do the same. Trust your guts. Thank you.